Now first of all, you can download this illustration file from the link in the description below. You should be able to draw these illustrations yourself, but for this animation, let me break down my process for this illustration. So first of all, we have a sky layer, then a layer for the stars. Then we have the mountain. Then we have some trees. Some more trees. Then a landscape. Another landscape. A grass shape. Then a shadow of the camp. And of course the camp itself. Now it's a group layer in which we have all the shapes that make up the camp design. But we don't need to go inside this group for this animation. Then we have a group which contains all the layers for some more grass layers. Then we have another group which contains these stones that will be hosting the fire. We have these group layers for the stones in the front, and then we have 3 more stones in the back. And we will be placing the fire animation in between the front and the back stones. So right above this layer and just below this layer. Basically between these 2 layers. And then we have this group which contains all these leaves that will be moving with the wind. And also another one on this side. So first of all, we need to create the fire animation in After Effects. Let's create a new composition. Create this water drop animation. Go to effects and search for wave warp and drag it to the shape layer. Set the direction to 0, height to 20 and width to 150. And this is how it looks now. But it doesn't look like fire. Let's duplicate this layer and make the second shape thinner. Apply the alpha matte to the bottom layer, and now the top layer has become a mask for the bottom layer, meaning that the bottom layer will only be visible within the area of the top layer. And why I did this, you will find out soon. If you reverse the wave height of the top layer, the shape of the top layer will become opposite of the bottom layer. And as this layer is a mask for the bottom layer, that's why only this middle area is visible. And so we get this kind of animation, which looks more like a real fire. Now to make this a little more random and complex, we can change the speed of the top layer, and now it looks more random and natural. Now the base of the fire should not be shaking, it should be still. So go to the pinning and select the bottom edge. Let's make it even thinner. Let's set the pinning to bottom edge for the other layer as well. Now the base is still moving. That's because the wave effect starts from the edge of the composition, not the edge of the shape layer. so we will need to move the shapes to the bottom of the composition. Let's duplicate the fire elements and create variations from the original one to make it look more complex. To make it even more complex, we can change the speed of the new fire elements to make it different from the original one. Let's duplicate one more time and do the same thing again. Now select all the layers and pre-compose. Let's call it fire. Now because the base is still, we can add some shapes to make the bottom round again. Let's rename the composition to fire animation. Now we can import the Photoshop file into After Effects project. Make sure to select these options, otherwise your layers will get merged into one image layer. But we want all the individual layers so we can apply effects and move them individually, separately to create the animation. Now you can see that your Photoshop file is converted into After Effects composition. All the layers are exactly the same as they were in Photoshop file. And all these groups that you had in Photoshop file are also converted into further pre-compositions. So if you click at the name of the group, it takes you to another composition. Now we need to place the fire animation between these stones. Let's go inside this composition. And place the fire animation between these layers. Now it should not be visible from the bottom, so just select the pen tool with your fire layer selected. And create a mask. And now it's only visible in this area. Now to apply some colors on the fire, let me import the exact colors I used previously. Right click on the fire layer, go to layer styles and select the gradient overlay. Set the gradient colors. Now right click, go to layer styles again and select the inner glow. Now go to layer styles again and apply the outer glow. Now it looks like it's glowing and spreading light. Let's go to the main scene and see how it looks now. To create some extra glow, draw a circle. Set the size. Now the size of the circle will depend on your requirements. If you want the light to spread wider, then you can increase the size as you like. Let's set the color of the circle. Go to effects and search for Gaussian blur. Apply it to the circle. Increase the blurriness. Play with opacity values until you find it appropriate depending on your scene. Now the fire must also have a shadow. So let's go to stone composition and create that too. Select the fire layer and duplicate it. Apply color overlay on it. Disable the other effects. And set the color to black. Now if you set the scale value to a -1, the layer gets inverted. Place the layer in an appropriate position. Move the layer below this main fire layer. Reduce the opacity to make it look like shadow. Now you will see this weird overlap. Now because our main scene is very dark, that's why this will not be noticeable, so we are not going to waste any time on this. But if you want, you can easily remove this. It's not a very complicated thing. Let's go to the leaves composition and animate the leaves. Now if you rotate a leaf, it rotates around the anchor point, but that's not how leaves move with the wind. So let's move the anchor point. And this is how it rotates now. Let's do this for all the other leaves. I won't move them manually. I'll go to effects and search for wiggle rotation. This effect makes the layers rotate randomly in random directions. This is the maximum amount by which it can rotate in any direction. I need to make it move slower, so let's reduce the speed. Now you see a sudden jump when the animation starts again. I want to make it a perfect loop, and for that the first and the last frame should be exactly the same. So I'll add a keyframe for the wiggle amount at 1 second. Another keyframe of 0 value at the start. And then 0 again at the end of the scene. Now the last and the first frame are exactly the same. So it's a perfect loop now. You can play this animation in a loop for 10 years and it won't look like it ended and started again somewhere. Now select the effects and press Ctrl+C to copy the effects. Select all the other layers and press Ctrl+V to paste the effects on them. Now you can go to the other group and do the same thing again. Let's duplicate the star layer. and move it down. Hide all the other layers except the stars and the sky. Connect the second layer with the original one so that when we move the original layer, the other one will also move with it. And now we can make the first and the last frame exactly the same to make it a perfect loop. And this is how your final animation looks now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.